Hi everyone, it's Lonnie and I'm back today with the clocks that we cut out and coffee dyed in the last video. And so today we're gonna actually make a pocket, a memo or a notebook, and a cluster. So let's get to it. If you missed how we got the clocks, check my last video. There's a free download for you. And so we're going to take one clock of each size. Alright, so for the memo pad, I just picked 3 papers that I wanted to use, and I'm going to fold them up. This paper is 8.5 inches wide, and so I'm just going to put my clock on here so that I can get a nice circle. And then I'm going to look for my scissors, and they're actually where they're supposed to be. So I'm just gonna roughly cut that out. Just gonna try not to cut the clock. I can trim the papers later if they need a little more. Like right there. So where they're not quite round, we just take the edge off and just make sure that they're pretty much hidden here. Like so, that's good. You wouldn't have to use a brad. You could easily just staple them if you wanted to. I just wanted to use a brad because it will stick with the color scheme of things here. And I got these off of Amazon. I'm not quite remembering how big they are, but they're, I think, the mini brads they're called. Maybe 6 millimeters. And then I want to, you could use your awl for this if you didn't have a small hole punch, or a large needle might work. Alright, so the time on this clock says about 3 minutes after 2. It leaves a little bit to be desired, but you get the idea. It's around tea time. So I'm going to put the hole at oh, pardon me, it's 5 minutes after 3. Yeah, I can tell time. Sure I can. Okay, so I'm going to put the hole at around 9 o'clock. So that way we can still use this as a regular book. So just want it far enough in that we don't, you know, it doesn't pull out off the side there. That's all we need that for. Alright, so where did the brad go? Right here. And so I'm gonna split the legs apart vertically so that they don't impede our progress there if we want to use it as an actual book. Okay, like so. And then for the other one, I actually inked all the edges. Of the individual pieces of paper before I put them in. That's okay, we can do it afterwards too. It's not a big deal. I think it's a good idea to at least do the first one so it doesn't show up so much. That way it looks a little more cohesive. There we go. There, very forgiving. So yeah, you could swivel it out to write, or you can flip it out or turn the pages if you like. And you could make these thicker too, so there's one project. And so I'll put that over here. Then the next one can be the book page. And so you can just grab whatever book page you like. Doesn't have to be book page, but that's what I chose to work with. I just have to find one. Okay, I got one. So this one is partly coffee dyed. So what I'm going to do is put the undyed part on the inside. And so what did we do here? The bottom of the page is actually, I used it for the top so that you can still read it if you want to see it. So I folded it this way, roughly about 2/3 of the way. So that's about 2.5 inches or so for mine, because let's see, my size is about 5 by 8 inches. Okay, so I've turned my page upside down, so the top part of the page is actually the front flap or the front edge of the envelope. Then the bottom will be the top, the flap of the envelope. And I'm going to make sure that I have room here. In fact, I think I made a hole, not a hole, but a, you know, an indent. There we go, with my hole punch. And so there's that. So yeah, I'm gonna leave some space, maybe 1/2 inch or so at least, and then fold this down. I'm trying to line it up, but I'm kind of not taking my time, so. And then I'm just gonna trim the outsides. Okay, and then I also rounded the corners on the flap there. And you can just do that with scissors, or you don't have to do it at all. Mine's kind of temperamental because the book page is fairly thin, so. Alright, so that's good. And then if you want to ink it, now would be the time to do that. I inked mine all the way around. I'm pretty sure this has been done many times before. It's just a basic envelope. I think I called it a pocket earlier. Oops. And then I also want to ink this part here. And for this I'm using ground espresso. Alright. So there's that and that. And then we have to attach. Oh, don't have to, but I choose to. The hardest part is facing the clock the right way. Okay, so then I also need something to hold down the flap. Something for the clock part to tuck into. And I had just doodled on a strip of paper. That's how I got that. And I had some left too. There we go. So I'll probably just use that. And I did kind of ink this up just to match. And I think I did the edges as well. So I hope this finds you doing well. In these interesting days. Okay, so I'm just gonna, well, I'll trim that later, but I'll just roughly tear that for now. Alright, so then I have to decide how high up I want it. I just barely wanted it to tuck in there because I didn't want anything to, I didn't want to have it go too far, then you might rip this part. And if it's not high enough, then it won't tuck in, so just barely. So here I kind of lined it up with one of the words, not words, lines of the text. So here, that one I pick, and then then I can roughly move the clock as well. But since I know where I'm going to put it, I can just go ahead and attach this, keeping in mind I don't want to put glue on the very bottom because it's going to stick off. So I'm just going to put my finger along the bottom so I don't put glue there. Just grab that little bit of dried up glue. Alright, so then that shouldn't take too much, but some. Alright, then roughly about there, just center it. And I went a little bit too low. I think I may have had the angle incorrect. Alright, that'll be fine. Okay, Just make sure the glue isn't still wet. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the edge of the paper at the line where I said, just a little bit on the inside there, on this side there. And then just kind of hold that down. I have left just a little bit of a, you know, I didn't pull it tight or anything. I just left a little gap there for the clock to go into. Alright, so then I can trim the excess. And then I'm going to run a little bit of glue on the front part of the envelope. On either side. And fold that back and attach it. Alright, so my glue dries fairly quickly. Just give this a little bit of a bend. And it's not really wanting to bend. But there it goes. So that was fairly quick and easy. Not too painful. Okay, so there's that. And then the last one, probably the hardest for me, because me and clusters. This butterfly was a freebie from Melina Pilot. She's on YouTube as well. These are the labels I designed. So I got that, and then I just used some digitals that I had accidentally printed. I didn't want them, and then I somehow ended up printing them, and yeah, so that. This one, not really my favorite. I prefer this one with the splotches of the rust. So I'm just thinking maybe I could add a little more coffee. Just a little. See how that goes, right? Just a little. Alright, so I can start working on my background. What I did with this one is I just pieced the parts together and then glued them where they met. That seemed to work all right. For this one, let's see. I have some papers that I was thinking of using, and it's part of a napkin. I don't know if that will come into play or not. Probably not. But it's at the side of my desk, so you never know. It could. I also have this lovely couple that I cut out. But I don't think I want them. Well, it's funny because originally on the page they were in front of a clock. But the way the hand on the clock was, it was right in his face, and I thought that didn't look very good. So, yeah, it was kind of like this. Mind you, this clock isn't as in your face as the other one was, so that actually might not look too bad if you were making a romantic page, which I'm not. In fact, here's part of that page, and I was thinking maybe just use part of it. I think this, the color on this printable lends itself very well to the rust. So here's the part, and I think this would work too if it wasn't quite so clean looking. A little bit white. So ink that. And of course for clusters you could do whatever you like, just giving you ideas. Alright, so these are like peacock feathers or something. So they might go this way. And I may want to use another label. This one says, Jesus loves me. And he does. And I'm so thankful. It's not that we need all the love we can get. We need his love particularly. Okay. Talking and working isn't working today, so. There, I found this one. I'm choosing to go with this one, and it's based on that verse where Jesus is talking to the father of the young girl, I believe it was, who was ill and dying. And Jesus told him, don't be afraid, only believe. And I think he says that to us today as well. So I'm going to put that in there. The clock is still a little wet. That's okay. So for, again, with the placement of the clock, it has to be 12 o'clock up, 6 o'clock down, something like that. And I think actually I'm going to hide that clock with this one, if I choose to do that. And then maybe put this one. Okay, the hardest part is actually getting your pieces to stay where you put them. I'm using the mat in the background to hopefully line things up a little. So that's 3 pieces. If I put this in here, that'll be 4. I could go with something on the bottom here yet. I'm thinking I would like something maybe with music on it. If I have something. Okay, I found another digital that has music on it. Again, I went with the color of this digital because I think it lends itself to the rust theme that I got going here. This was a free printable from Artsy-D. It's a website, and she had lots of resources. This was in her love journal, I believe. Alright, so then I want this one, I think right there, and then just kind of sticking out. And how far? Maybe about there. Except I have to straighten that. Okay. Where were we? That little guy was covering like so, and then something like that. Maybe we can push that, pull that up a little. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. I think that'll work. I'm not sure if I love it. It looks kind of cool when it's graduated like that, but I'm wondering if it needs something else here. What I like about this one is that the butterfly here joins 3 pieces, and I guess that circle there does that. Maybe that's too dark. I have this other piece. It's from the same page, but I thought it might work a little better. Do a switcheroo here. Something like that. Yeah, we'll say that's good. I can always make more or make them different. You can print this out and make as many as you like. And all of them would be different. How's that? Alright, so put the clock. Whoops. Try not to move everything as you're just roughly gluing it. And then yeah, that's it. Move everything. Alright, and then just this little guy. There we go. And then we can put some glue in the spots where it needs it. But I'm going to leave that with you. And yeah, it's different. That's okay. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that and got some ideas, and hope you liked the download. So have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you again. Bye for now.